What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Round 11 podcast, the real Round 11 podcast. As per usual, Cruz and Spaz, Zarin Cod, Zach Benoit here. How are you guys doing today?
You're up, bud. It's
Why,
always
why
good
do you
for
why do
you.
you always do that? I'm doing pretty good.
Zarin, you should know by now, bro. If we're doing an intro, we're throwing it to you.
I don't
It's
know.
always you first. I'm always last.
I'm not used to this not James guy, but so
Oh my
still
god.
taking a little bit to get used to. But I'm having a good old day. Good day of casting Call of Duty. Me and Cruz were at it earlier. Yeah, fun stuff, and here we are now.
Yeah, it was a very, very long 2-hour cast, which it shouldn't have been that long, but it's amateur Call of Duty and that shit happens. Gotta start somewhere. Anyways, back on track. This past weekend, CDL Seattle. I'm going to throw the bracket up real quick for everybody at home. What a weekend it was, though. Some major upsets again coming out of this weekend. Minnesota doesn't make it out of groups again. We see Seattle go and only win 2 maps again.
See how it go to shambles.
Some big bonfires are happening in these teams, and we are here this week to break everything down for you guys. So basically, the 2 teams that made it out of Group A were the Ravens, out of Group A were the Ravens and the Subliners. Surprisingly, I think most people at least, had New York coming out number 1 over over London or Seattle, and so London coming out of the number 1 seed, 0, looking much better, making that team look a lot better this weekend. And then out of the Group B, Chicago and Optic, who are the 2 teams I had coming out of the group. I think Zarin had Minnesota. A lot of people probably also had Minnesota coming out. But yeah, so setting up our semifinal matches as London and Optic. Fantastic match. Went the full game 5. I don't recall if it went round 11, but it did go the full 5 games. At which point, London wins the series 3-2. And then moving on to the second semifinal, we had Chicago taking on New York. And honestly, besides the domination that Chicago lost, they were very, very, very dominant in that series over New York. Pristini filled in very nicely with the Huntsmen, as I thought they were going to. Funniest thing is, you know how I sometimes accidentally call Huntsman Optic? Maven did it on stream this week. That was hilarious. And then also Chicago versus London in the finals, as you guys can see here clearly. The Chicago Huntsmen win their second homestead of the year. I think it would have been an upset if they didn't win this weekend. Boys, any thoughts on the winner of the weekend? Zarin?
I mean, Pristini coming over Chicago, I think was expected to make a nice little run. And probably win it. I still think whether it was General or Pristini or Gunless in, I think Chicago was still the favorite to win this event, and they proved that. Pristini, he wasn't a standout performer this weekend, but you could see how much he obviously helped Chicago, got them out of the rut, and finally got them a championship after God knows how long. So
I think Pristini. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I think Pristini, not only did he fill in a lot of the ways I thought he was going to in Respawn, but I think he was very standout in S&D this weekend. His KD, I think he was like a 1.4 at the end of the weekend on S&D KD, so that's very impressive. Zach, sorry, go ahead, Zach.
I was just gonna say, I think even with General in, I think their S&D would have improved because he's just that kind of guy. But yeah, Pristini, you're right. He did perform pretty well in Search of Choice, so that was a big talking point for Chicago.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Even if Pristini wasn't coming in this weekend, General or Gunless, like you said, I still see them as the favorites to win this tournament. I think with the addition of Pristini, though, and the fact that they won their first tournament, I think it shows how dominant this team can be and how well-oiled they already are for just having such a short time to practice with one another. And I think that just the vibes on that team and the chemistry is just flowing like crazy.
I will say I think that the weekend started off a little bit rough for them. They didn't look great in their first series, but it's kind of expected when you're going in on 4 days practice with a new player. So, but I think as the weekend went along, they were getting better and better. Pristini definitely got better as the weekend went along, and Respawn as well. He looked the first series that they played on the weekend. He looked really, really rough in that. I think he went double neg in the first domination of the weekend. But besides that, I think that was his worst map, and they still like very handily played well that weekend. If you guys want to move on a little bit, so do you guys want to break down talking about Chicago a little bit, like what your thoughts were with them?
Yeah, I think we kind of touched, or at least I did. I kind of touched on everything about Chicago. Again, with Pristini coming in, I did expect them to be better, and they were. They didn't get a lot of practice with him, but I didn't think that'd be a major issue, especially with the chemistry that was already there. They look good. I think the biggest takeaway is that they proved that they're still a top 3 team, and anybody that thought that way is an idiot. Like, I'm not saying that, but that's what like they've proven. That's what I'm trying to say. So.
That's yeah, I agree with you. I think like going into this weekend, I feel like they had to win this weekend to prove that they were still a top 3 team. If they didn't win this weekend, they like I feel like say Minnesota wins this weekend, like I feel like Minnesota takes their spot in the top 3, right?
For sure.
Yeah, no. Like you said, I think the weekend obviously started off rocky for them, but that's what you're gonna expect that when you're coming on such short practice. And, not a whole lot of chemistry already built, but I think what helped going throughout the weekend was just the play style of Pristini that added to the team. And I think Jesse, you said it before. It wasn't on the podcast. It was just kind of us talking, but you said that now that that Scumpy has somebody to run in the hill for him, or that Scump has that other major player to run into hills.
It's that entry fragger, which Pristini is. He adds for me, it's like he adds so much pacing to the team.
Yeah, and I think with that, and we saw it this weekend how dominant the entire team was. There was moments where Arcides was frying. He looked like he couldn't be stopped.
Formal looked like old Formal this weekend. I don't know if you guys saw that. I think he dropped a 1.3 on the event this weekend. It was
Formal was frying with the AR. Scumpy was frying with his sub, and Pristini just looked like he fit in by the end of the weekend. Like it looked like he was there for the entire season.
I know Scump had the best Sunday he's had all year.
Yeah. I think he dropped a 1.2 on Sunday this week, which was crazy.
And that's something that you need if you're Chicago. He's been solid all year, but he hasn't been like that explosive guy that they're really used to. Although his role has kind of adapted, I think. Even last year, he's not like you said and mentioned before, Jesse. Like, he's not going to be the guy that's going to get entry kills. He's going to be the guy around the hard point, not necessarily in it, but around it, slaying out and getting.
It's kind of what he's always been, right? He's never really been that hill guy. He gets
the critical kills, not necessarily an objective or objective.
He's an SMG slayer. It's what he's always been. He's there to get kills on the map, and but I think his role is kind of more moved into be like he plays a lot more objective this year, especially more than I've ever seen him play. Really.
Well, yeah, and the thing is with him, I think as well, any kill he doesn't drop 30, 35 every single game, but he's getting the kills that the team needs. He can drop.
He's getting those critical kills.
He can drop a really, really, really good 25 kills, and people wouldn't even bat an eye because it's 25 kills. And on the other side, you see Envoy with 35 or Formal with 38, something like that.
I also think it's a lot harder for I know he was on that Optic Dynasty team and they were dropping mad kills. He was always going off. But I was going back and watching some old events where Crim6 and Formal were the two that were going off, and Scump was just there. Scump silently is dropping 40 while they're both dropping 50, and it's they're all overlooking him. It's you're not going to be able to get every single kill on the map when you're playing with A, 5 people, and B, 5 people as talented as the people are on Chicago. Right, every single one of those players at any point has the ability to go off and drop 40.
I'm not saying Scump is underrated or underappreciated, but I just think sometimes his level of play goes over some people's heads, and he's important to any team, especially this team. So it was nice to see him pop off on Sunday.
I liked what he did. He kind of did you see the tweet that Formal sent out at the start of Sunday? He tweeted out saying, it was a quote from Scump saying, "I'm turning off all my lights to make it feel like an event at home." This dude was playing it with all the way. It was basically like my room. This dude's playing like he's on main stage. Maybe that's why I fry so much when I play Warzone, guys.
It was awesome. Oh my god, it was awesome though, because you saw how pumped up he was getting too.
After the match, he's like
He was screaming on the mic. He was amped.
Yeah, no,
It was
yeah.
great to see that.
Honestly,
that was just like
yeah,
OG Scump
you
right
love
there.
to see that. And yeah, no, just final thoughts on Chicago. I think it was honestly fantastic how like they came together this weekend. They looked really good. I was very happy to see that as a Chicago fan myself. Do you guys have any final thoughts on Chicago, or you guys?
I'm good.
Yeah, honestly, I think they're just gonna be a bigger threat now, and I think the top three just got even closer than it already was.
Do you think that okay? So here's a like my last question on them. Do you guys think that they have a chance to beat FaZe and Empire with this team as it is now? Do you think they're going to get better, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, who knows?
Yeah,
Just looking at the next event, I want to see Chicago. Okay, FaZe are in it as well as Dallas. So
Chicago, yeah, it's a really good. This should be a very proven event, and Chicago's a really weak group too.
Yeah, this is their chance to show that they can, or at least at the very least compete at a high level against those top two teams. And
I think
they will beat them eventually. For sure.
I think that
I feel like
the winner
Sorry,
winner of this event, I believe, like if it's one of those top three teams, I think that like that team will kind of not necessarily solidify, but they'll put their mark on being the number one team in the game.
So
that's what I kind of.
This is my thoughts on that. I think I agree with you for the most part. Any team that wins this event will probably most likely be pushed to top spot on the team, unless it's Empire losing in a very, very close fashion. I think is the only way that Empire will stay at the top if they don't win this weekend.
I think any series between these top three guys, like if we see them play each other in a finals or in a semis, it's always going to go to round 5. I don't think a team is going to get either 3-0 swept or 3-1. I think it's always going to go to a game.
We could end up even seeing Dallas and Atlanta in round 2 in this to make semis. So
yeah,
because one of them is coming out as winners and one of them is coming out in losers in that group. And if one of them doesn't make it out of groups, that's going to be very, very, very rough for one of them because Minnesota is in that group and they could be a sleeper too. So there's always that. Moving on to London, what were you guys, Zarin? Let me know what your thoughts were with Zero coming in. Either.
I was impressed. London, I've been high on them all season long. I've had them at I think 5th in my power rankings, literally the entire season until the Florida event, where they stunk it up and I dropped them to 7 finally, but they were impressive. Of course, Zero coming in for Jerd. I feel like that would make them better, but I didn't know that it would make them better right away. So credit to Zero, credit to London for coming out with the fire. Wuskin probably had another MVP type event. That guy, if he doesn't win MVP for the year, he's definitely going to be a runner-up or even 3rd place.
His sniper is insane.
Yeah. Everything is finally coming together for London. Again, a little bit premature to consider them possibly a top 5 team, but they definitely came out and impressed and I think surprised a lot of people as well.
It was really nice to see them pop off this weekend for sure. I was quite happy to see what I love good Call of Duty. I'm not like everybody knows I like Chicago, right? But like I also love good Call of Duty. So it was nice to see another team that I wasn't too expecting on coming out. Like I don't think I had them coming out of groups. I think I had Seattle coming out of groups over them. So to see them come out of groups and like really, really show up this weekend with Zero, like it was a nice change of pace because it just adds another team to that list of teams that could sleep on, that people will be sleeping on, that could win. And like this is the time of year where everybody wants to be getting better right now with the push towards champs coming very soon. I think we have like 4 or 5 tournaments left before champs. So
yeah, no, we're going into the tournament. I didn't really think London would be a team to like watch or expect to run to a finals, but they were dominant the entire weekend. Like they were playing Call of Duty. I don't think I've seen them play all year, if I'm being honest. Like Wuskins was hitting every single shot with the sniper. Zero was getting every engagement, winning majority of his engagements, and it just felt like everything that could go right for them and that they needed to go right just happened to fall in the right places. And I think this just kind of proved how good of a team that they can be when they're at their best.
Well, I'm going to say about that is if you are a pro team, you should not be playing London on Arklov Peak because Wuskins is disgusting with the sniper on that map, like actually disgusting. I don't.
We were watching it. He was hitting shots. That
I don't think I would ever like as a pro team. I feel like I would always veto that map against them, which is something they might run into trouble with as teams vetoing their good maps once they get them. But like,
And it seems like that's the case with Minnesota. To be fair, at least a part of the reason why, you know.
we will get to Minnesota in a little bit. Kind of moving on from London, Seattle, the bonfire of what that team is.
Seattle's a dumpster fire. I'm sorry. Somebody has to say it, but no, I can't with this team anymore. There's so many mistakes coming through. There was a tweet that came out. It was either earlier today or yesterday, and we see Octane, one of the best ARs in the game, probably like just in general, Octane, an AR player running the MP5. I don't think I've ever seen him run a sub in his entire career.
So just to kind of catch everybody up. So what happened on the weekend was they played their first match, and they had a substitute mid-series where Pander was playing the search and destroys, and Enable was playing the respawns. So it kind of feels like, I mean, it was a cool idea if it works, but it also kind of feels like these guys are literally trying anything at this point to kind of light a spark under their team. And then their second series, they completely cut Enable. So I think Enable played 2 maps for them on the weekend when he was supposed to be coming back in. So like, I don't fully understand that.
Pander just doesn't fit Seattle, and I don't know.
I don't think Seattle fits Seattle.
And well, yeah, and that's a whole other, you know, present to unwrap. But I think with the substitute, I like the idea. You know, try something new. You're a team that's already down in the series and a little bit desperate. And
might as well.
So yeah, may as well. They put Pander in. I thought it was hilarious that they lost the S&D anyways, but just
I don't think Pander adds that much to S&D over Enable. Really, in all honesty,
it really doesn't. But you know what? I still give him credit for trying something new, something we haven't seen before in the CDL. Doesn't work.
It'd be interesting to see if we can get a team that actually like is able to adapt that strategy. Imagine having like a team like Toronto, like that has like an S&D team and a respawn team. That'd be something interesting to see if that ever actually happens.
Like, could you imagine? Okay, could you imagine like what if their 5 substitutes work like insanely hard on search and destroy and they become gods at it
and just play search? Yeah, that'd be insane.
Like sub out the entire 5 players.
Like that. Could you
see Looney coming off the bench just to play search?
That'd be hilarious. Yeah. That'd be some shit LA Gorillas would try.
Probably, you're not wrong.
Yeah, but Seattle not in good shape right now. I don't expect a roster change. They haven't made one yet. Like as far as picking up a player or trading for someone.
So they did make a role change apparently. Karma's running the main AR now, and so I know you were saying that you don't like it, Zach. I think I kind of like it. Only because, like, yes, Octane is one of the best ARs in the world.
I it's not that I don't like it. It's just, it's so weird to see that one of the best AR players in the world is just trying to now adapt to being a sub. It's just like, it's in my brain. It just doesn't seem normal. I understand it probably fits the team better because, like you said, this team on paper looks good. Like they look like a competitive team, but they're not. The team isn't built for what the Modern Warfare meta is, and that's majority submachine guns.
Right, yeah, it's a 4 sub meta right now. Zarin, before you say what you're gonna say, I just want to say something really quick. So my thought on the change, Karma has run a main AR before, and he's done it very well on multiple teams. I think Karma 100% could run a main AR in this game, and I think it will boost Karma's stats and make Karma better because like the M4 player in this game are running ridiculous numbers for the most part. So I think that could help. Also, I think that the MP4 or the MP5 in this game is a do-anything gun, which I think Octane could really, really do well with, maybe even better than what Karma was doing with. So that's my whole thought process. And obviously something needs to change, and I don't think they're making roster changes. So maybe it could work, honestly. Like,
I applaud them for it. Yeah.
No, I don't at all. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Octane is probably a top 5 player in the whole league, despite being on a bottom 2 team. He has the highest hardpoint KD, I think, in the entire CDL. As a main AR, let's remember this. So why are you taking away your best asset and putting responsible with it just to make another player happy?
You kind of cut out a little bit there. Do you want to just repeat what you said?
Yeah. I'll just kind of restart. Like I don't understand at all. It's really shitty. It's a really stupid plan. Octane is probably a top 5 player in the entire league. He has the highest hardpoint KD in the entire CDL, and you're gonna go ahead and put him in a position where he's not gonna be comfortable with, or I mean, he may be, but like it's something completely out of the. I'm trying to word this properly. Like it's something he's never done before, and he's done so well with the main AR. Why would you put your main asset, your biggest asset, in a different position just to possibly have another player play better? What if Octane sucks just as bad as Karma has with the sub, but Karma picks it up and plays like Octane? Like, how is that going to be beneficial to the team at all? So
Well,
I don't
I mean,
understand it.
I don't think that they're going to get better playing with the current rules that they're playing with at all. So that's why I kind of do understand why they're changing.
Well, okay,
It's kind of it might be a pacing thing too, right? Like they're just trying something new, and like you kind of gotta at this point, you gotta try something
Yeah,
because like
that's I understand where you're coming from, Zarin, because at the same time, it doesn't make sense to me why they would do it, but at the same time, it does make sense just because you've hit the point in your season and in your downfall of why not? Why not give this, like, why not try? If it doesn't work, then we just go back to what we had before. Like at this point, you're just throwing, like you're just trying to throw something and hopefully it sticks.
okay. I'm gonna give you another football analogy here. Okay, so that's like okay, Rob Gronkowski, great tight end, probably one of the best ever,
I'm excited where this is going.
best in the league for God knows how long. And all of a sudden, because the Patriots are losing games, which never happened,
throw them on
unfortunately.
defense.
Well, that or I was gonna make it a little bit easier and say throw him at wide receiver.
He'd strive at wide receiver. What do you mean?
Well, okay, let me get to my fucking point. Let me get to my point. You put him at receiver. Yes, he may be good, but he's going up against guys he's never gone up against before. He doesn't face corners. He goes up against linebackers, safeties. He's going up against corners who are running 4.4s in a 40-yard dash, and he's not going to be able to keep up with them or break away from them or anything like that. But he still may be good. We don't know, but it's just something he's never seen before.
I don't know.
And that's the thing with Octane. He's going to go up against cracked out players like Simp and Celium and those guys. How is he going to handle it?
So
He's never faced those guys. He always faces the Arcities.
I agree. Like the biggest thing for him, I feel that's going to be his biggest struggle playing at a sub is going to be the movement with the sub. I think is what's going to be his biggest problem. But
well, this is the thing. Like Rob Gronkowski's movement at wide receiver, it's not going to be a wide receiver's movement. It's going to be a tight end's movement.
I was trying to take it away from the football. I get your analogy, which is why I was kind of like saying, but like imagine being. So I get what you're saying. Basically, what Zaren's trying to say is like. As a main AR, you basically always posted up somewhere on a head glitch, getting ready to fucking beam people. Now you're gonna be in the trenches, fucking running on like a 5.5 centimeter. He might even have to change the sensitivity from what he normally plays on to something faster with how fast these kids move. So like I don't know, man. I think they're just trying something new. Like it probably won't stick, but like if it does and it works, good on them. That's how I think about it.
It's all yeah. Like
I don't think there's really much more to really say about that. Honestly, like it's.
You're
I agree with
your
you.
team
I don't
is
disagree with you, Zarin, at all. Like that, it could be a bad move, but like honestly, I don't think they could get much worse than what they are right now. They lost to the Gorillas this weekend, right? So
I'm not saying they can get much worse, but they're definitely not going to improve from it. I can guarantee that. That's locking my guarantee of the next event that they're in, and they will not make it out of group play once again. If Octane is running a sub,
could you imagine they like win the event? how bad Zarin would look.
I will
shave your eyebrows if Seattle wins their next event and Octane's running the sub.
That's probably a good bet, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to risk it. No way.
Anyways, we're going to move on now to the Minnesota and the fall that they have taken these last couple events. Minnesota, I think everybody had them as a top 4 team at one point this year, has now fallen, and it's back-to-back events where they have missed making groups, or making out of groups, and probably they should have made it out of both. I had them not making out of this group, because I did have Optic making it out over them. Zarin, you were right. Optic couldn't beat them in 2 series, but Optic did beat them in the series that mattered. They smoked them. They beat them 3-0 and smoked them.
Yeah. It was rough. Minnesota, I hate to see them fall like they have, because they've been so impressive. And at the beginning of the year, everyone was like, "Oh, they're going to be a bottom 3 team, like, them, Toronto and LA or whatever." It's been a real tough time for them the last few events. I don't think they're going to make a roster change at all. I think they're going to plug it out. Next event, they're in a bit of a difficult group with FaZe and Atlanta. I believe they're in that group, or they with Chicago.
Yeah, so that was something also I wanted to touch on was their next 3 groups. I have them all right here. So their next 3 groups, they play Seattle, Atlanta, Minnesota, Dallas in their first group. They only have 3 tournaments left. That's their first one. Their next one is London, Chicago, New York, and Minnesota. And then the tournament after that is Atlanta, Minnesota, Florida, and Dallas. Those are hard groups. They might not make it out of any of those groups, which would be a shame because they're a really good team, and that's going to put them in a really bad spot CDL point-wise going into playoffs and champs.
Yeah, your point, like, so I know I have never been really high on Minnesota, and I still kind of am not, but I will give props where props are due. They are a good Call of Duty team. And I think you're right to say that, Zarin, that they have the potential to be that top 4, top 3 team. I think you have that mindset. But it was brought up last week, and I think we can stand by it now that teams have caught up to the play style of Minnesota.
Well, so
as good of a team as they are, teams have caught up, and it's happened.
Yeah, that's what I was saying last weekend. I said teams have caught up to Minnesota, and I think it proved it again this weekend when they got beat again. So I think what it is like Minnesota at the start of the year. They aren't the biggest slayers, although I will say I think GodRx is probably one of the top players in the league right now.
Sniper wise, him and Buskins are like tied for first.
I think anything wise, he's definitely like top 5 player in the league right now. Not him, but I think what the issue is though is they had such good teamwork at the start of the year, which is why they were going so far in series and like doing so well in tournaments. And now the issue is like teams have watched them play and learned how Minnesota plays. To like even Huntsmen have said like they watched how Minnesota plays against Atlanta, so that when they play up against Atlanta, they know what to do in certain things, because Minnesota has played Atlanta tough every time they've played them, right? So it's like Chicago has even said that they watch them play so that they know what to do. So teams have obviously watched, they've caught up, and now you're playing teams that have higher skill, gun skill, like Optic, right? Like, can you say like Optic doesn't have individually more talent than Minnesota? Right.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So like now they've caught up in terms of watching teamwork wise and map vetoes, and now they're able to pick them off and beat them. And I think that's what it's come down to.
I think the best way that I can put it simply is that Minnesota is a good team in a slump, and any good team can get out of a slump, and I absolutely believe they will. I don't expect them to make any roster changes anytime soon. And I still believe that this is a team that could win champs. I strongly believe that. I think they have a better chance than the rest of the 8 teams in the league. Of course, other than the top 3.
I agree. I actually agree with that, because if you look at the team, you got Silly and Assault on that team, and they've done it before. They've had shitty years and come in to champs and win champs with aches of all people. So
that was the cheap shot.
No, I honestly like. I think you put it in your smart words there, like the good team in a slump, and I think what it is, it's once that stroke once that one map goes their way, or for example like they're on map 3 in a search and destroy, and it's a 1v1 and somebody wins. I think once that tilts their way, I think then you'll start seeing success again with them. But if things keep falling their way, I can just see them still being like struggling as they are right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's gonna be very tough for them to be high. Like I think like they're gonna end up finishing in, like I know you guys were looking at it. Did you guys see the group that like the thing I sent you guys for the bracket play for champs? Like I sent it to the
yeah.
So
yes.
So it is confirmed that that team 1 or the team 1 and team 2 and team 3 and team 4 will get a 2-round and a 3-round bye at champs to start champs in winners bracket, and then the losers bracket will be the bottom 4 teams already starting in losers bracket. Honestly, I feel like they might honestly finish and start the champs and losers bracket, which would be very, very scary for them if they do. I think that's the only ways that, like, if they don't, they have to win a couple series at these next events. Like, not like I don't think they're gonna make it out of groups though at any of these events. And I know that's a pretty bold prediction to make, but like looking at the groups that they're in, like obviously somebody can mess up, but like it's gonna be really, really tough for them to make it out.
Yeah, you never know with this team. Like I said, it's a good team in a it's a good team in a slump. I do believe that they will get better. So like they're definitely not out of it. Like they're not. This team isn't just going to pack it in. They've shown how good they are before, and I think they will. I fully expect them to win an event by the end of the year, despite how tough their groups are. I fully believe that they can do it. So time will tell.
Again, like this league has shown us in the past 2 weeks, anything can happen. It's Call of Duty. Like we've seen teams like Toronto come out of nowhere and make push to semis. We've seen the New York Subliners go from an absolute dumpster fire to potentially a strong contending team. Maybe not necessarily beating a high team every week, but they'll be there to give them a fight. So I think if in the coming tournaments for Minnesota, I think anything can happen. So don't necessarily just bat an eye to that team.
For sure. Now moving on to other teams that are in a slump. The LA Gorillas. In a slump to say the least. They beat Seattle finally.
Would you call a tragic nightmare a slump?
It was just
Would you call it
it was it was a little bit of sarcasm on that. Anyways, so it does appear they are making a roster change of sorts. They are subbing in Saints for Sparts, which I have zero problem with at all. I think Spart has proven that he's not capable of hanging with the big dogs in the league. I think Gorillas need to do something to get better, so maybe this is it. I mean, Saints has always been a good player in the league, so I never really understood why they took Saints out in the first place. So
yeah, this team, I'm glad they're finally making a change, for God's sakes. This team has been together like 3.5 months, and they've sucked equally every single tournament. And they've lost to Seattle. What is it, 4 times or 5 times?
Well, it was 4 times in a row, and then they finally beat them at this event.
Like, come on. I just don't. How did this team not make a roster change after the first 2 events where they absolutely sucked? I have no words, but like, yay, I guess, for putting Saints back in, like a better player than
Zaren's
almost anybody else on the team.
He's waiting for the day.
Aches is waiting for the call, yo. He's ready to strap on the boots and come on in.
It should be Vivid, Saints, Aches, Aqua, and Lacefield. That's what it should be, but it isn't.
Vivid's actually really good. I've actually been really impressed with Vivid.
Vivid out of all the more impressive players on that team.
The Walmart version of Channing Tatum, Vivid. Yeah. He does. Tell me he doesn't.
I don't think I've ever seen a picture of him.
No, I heard the casters talk about one. But no, yeah, your bottom team.
That sounds like some Miles and Momo shit to say. Like it looks
it's true though. It's true. He looks like a Walmart version or like a Dollarama version of Channing Tatum.
And then so I guess we can touch on Optic a little bit too. So what did you guys think of Optic this weekend, and the possibility of them putting Gunless in for Chino apparently is a thing. It's not officially confirmed yet, but it's a very, very strong rumor. It's basically like at the rumor point of where Pristini was with Chicago.
Do you want to go first, Aaron?
I don't have much to say about LA. They looked pretty good again. Not amazing, not blow me away, not top 5 caliber, that's for fucking sure. But they looked a lot better. Or not a lot better, sorry. They looked just as good as they were last event. They had somewhat easy competition, and as far as Minnesota, I would put them easy-ish right now. They lost to them once, beat them, like smoked them the second time, so definitely made up for that. And they of course beat Paris, so not the hardest of competition, I would say, but another good showing. Definitely moves them up in my power rankings at least. But yeah, not much else.
And what are your thoughts on the whole Gunless possibility?
I like it. I think he fits that team. He won championships with Slasher and TJ. I think it's a good fit. I think him and Kenny are gonna mesh really well together. So I don't see why you would make a change considering how you've done. You made it out of groups, made semifinals and finals the last two times, or the last two events.
I'll tell you why they make a change. They make a change because they know they're not going to win an event with Chino, or that's what they think. It's in their heads that they're not going to win an event with Chino. And bringing on Gunless is just like it's the level of player, right? Like I love Chino, but can you not like say like that Gunless is a better player than Chino? Like Gunless has won an event every year since coming into the league.
Yeah, I just don't understand. You guys are playing better. I would wait one more event, to be honest, before thinking about bringing him on. If you're stuck in a rut, you keep making semis but can't get that extra push to win a tournament or even get to finals, then you make a change. But I would give it one more event. Otherwise, I don't mind the change, just not right now.
I also think that it's a role thing as well, because I think they want to put Dashy back to running like the flex, so like he's running a sub some maps. But then he's also running the AR on like other maps where he needs to be. Like especially in S&D, I feel like he should be running an AR in most S&D maps. Like our club especially. Like he was running a sub on our club this weekend, and like I think that
I thought he was running a sniper at points too.
Well, he does, but he was also like he was. But I don't know. I feel like when you have Dashy on the AR with Slasher, that's a nasty AR duo, and then you bring in Gunless, who will be a fantastic sub for the team. So. I don't think that Chino's been bad by any means, but I don't think Chino is going to be to the level of what Dashy could possibly. What I think Gunless could just raise the ceiling for the team higher is what it is.
Yeah, it's been well documented over the last little bit that I really am high on this team, and I really like them. Like you said, I love Chino. I think he's a great player, but again, I think. Just the chance at getting that higher caliber player in Gunless, I think if you have that chance, take it, because you guys have already shown that you can get a new player and not necessarily be dominant, but be a contender in the tournaments. So maybe getting, like you said, Zarin, maybe getting that extra push could help them step through to to a finals, potentially winning a tournament. And I think that's kind of the point of view of the org right now. And it's not necessarily being like, well, we're struggling with Chino, or Chino's not giving us what we want. I think it's more of, if we have a chance at this better player, I think we should take him. And I think that's kind of the whole viewpoint of the Optic.
Yeah. And by no means am I saying it's going to be a bad move or would be a bad move, whether they make it now or make it in 2 weeks from now. I would still like to see them wait another event. No. But if they were to make it now, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, what the hell are they doing? Because Gunless is just that kind of guy. He has the potential to be a top 10 player in the entire league. So I don't.
Yeah. If it doesn't work, you could always just try putting Chino back on. It's not necessarily like if it doesn't work. Obviously, if it worked, keep Gunless on and keep trying, like keep going with it. But
I don't think that they'll put Gunless in and then take him out if it doesn't work right away. I think they'll give him a few. I think they'll give it a bit for sure.
Oh my god.
Anyways, what I was gonna say though was my only worry with Gunless joining this team would be a vibes thing, because he's going to clash with Slasher. That's the only thing I'm worried about. I'm sure that's why they stopped teaming together before, was a vibes thing. Now, honestly, I think if Gunless joins this team instantly is the top 4 team, like with the chance to like really make a good run at champs, especially. I don't like with Chino. I don't see them as the top 4 team. That's the thing. So it's just I don't know, man. It's hard. It's like I love Chino, but I think Gunless is just a better player. And also, I think, as Zarin, you were saying, you want to see them wait 2 weeks. I've seen Slasher win an event and drop methods to pick up I've seen like him join a team after winning an event, because like when you can get that upgrade, you gotta take that upgrade. So
it's different. It's different times though. Like. It was a lot more free to make changes then than now, and I don't know.
I get what you mean.
At the end of the day, we'll see what happens.
I wouldn't be against it.
And Zarin, I know you wanted to I'll move our points on a little bit here. I know you wanted to talk about the GA list a little bit. So
yeah. So for those of you guys who don't know, there's a new gentleman's agreement argument on Twitter in the last few days that's been kind of heating up. So the list, I believe, is the players want to agree to ban Merc foregrip for the MP5, which if anybody's seen any clips of that, or if you use that, you know how good the hip fire is on it. Like we'll dive into these a little bit after I list them off. The next one is the auto tack sprint, where you just automatically like the double click on your L3.
You don't have to do it. Basically, your guy just double sprints right away.
Yeah, and you know the sliding, and you can move around the map.
And that combined with the sliding, yeah, you can absolutely abuse the hell out of the mechanics.
And the final thing is the snaking, which I want to get into first because I don't really have a huge opinion on it. We saw it a little bit last year, actually. I believe it was GA'd.
It was,
or at least there was. Yeah, okay, so it was. Yeah, we saw it early on in Black Ops 4. Players took advantage of that, and I believe it was 2 years before that in Infinite Warfare. It also was a problem. Now, I don't understand it. Like, I think, if you can, not necessarily cheat the game, but if you can find ways to get better in the game and take advantage of the game's mechanics, I think you absolutely should. So I don't see a point on GAing it at this point.
So which one are you saying you don't see a point of GAing? Snaking?
Snaking.
Okay,
yeah.
so this is my thoughts on snaking. I think that GAing snaking is absolutely ridiculous because you're telling me that if you're in a 1v1 round 11, you're not going to snake the fucking shit out of that rock that's in front of you. That's a lie.
Yeah.
That's 100% a lie, and you're going to do it for that money. There's not a question. I think snaking, I understand when they GA'd snaking in Infinite Warfare because that shit was ridiculous in that game. I don't think it's as ridiculous in this game as it was in that game or BO4. So like
it's an advantage, but I also think like it's you got to take advantage and learn how to adapt to the game, and that's why another topic like I want to bring up in the future. But gentlemen's agreements as a whole, I fucking hate because the rules that the CDL or even CWL in the past has brought out has been more than fair. Yet players still bitch and complain about all the different guns, the attachments.
The crazy part is like if you think about it too, like the players help make the rules. Like so. Why do you have to GA things after you make the rules? So it's like
I absolutely hate it.
I kind of understand some. Like that tack sprint definitely needs to get taken out of competitive. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, but the CDL should be the ones taking it out, not the fucking players.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I don't think that should be allowed in the CDL playlist.
Yeah, and I don't want to be. I don't want to get too much into GAs, but yeah, snaking I think is fine. They should leave it in the game. Players need to adapt, plain and simple.
And let's see what Zach has to say. Zach's kind of just been sitting here quietly.
Yeah, no, honestly, I don't know. I'll be honest. I haven't really heard a lot about the GAs and all that, so that's why I didn't want to kind of intervene in it all. But like I think Darren give a good point. If it's in the game, you need to adapt. It's just that's how it is.
Oh, also, sorry, I just want to say, I think the Merc foregrip, I think that one is absolutely ridiculous though, because like every other attachment is allowed to be fucking used. So it's like it's overpowered. But you ever think maybe Infinite or like Infinity Ward should be like nerfing it maybe a little bit, like as opposed to completely GAing it? Like that's my whole thought process around it. Like I don't think that there's GAs should be a thing, but I definitely think that the developers should be looking into these things that are super overpowered, because that Merc foregrip is, you can beam people from like really really long distances away, especially if you hit a headshot with that shit. It is
the hip fire
is super straight ridiculous because of it. So like you gotta think like maybe just have it like nerfed a little bit. I don't think like it should be GA'd though. I think especially because how many teams have been like playing with it for so long now. Like how are you gonna nerf it? How are you gonna GA it now? Right.
I know it's very very late to do that. I think one of the biggest things that I miss in Call of Duty comp is ban and protect.
Oh, from Black Ops 3.
We would see very very few GAs as there was in that game. I believe only
you
GAs...
could use rapid fire and high caliber in that game in competitive, if they made it through.
So the back half of that game, of course, it was banned early on in that game, but I believe the back half or back quarter of the game, there was a gentleman's agreement for just those two things. those, as far as I know,
No.
and I believe it was the Shiva as well, were pretty much the only things that were GA'd in
Oh,
that
the
game.
Shiva.
I don't think it was GA'd, honestly, none of it.
I believe it was at one point.
No, because
I do think so.
because at champs, even I remember because like that was like one of my first champs I ever like watched. Optic still like because I was an Optic fanboy at the time. Like they were still running. I think I just previously went back and watched it and shit. I don't think the Shiva ever like got taken out like to the point where it was GA'd.
I believe it was. It was. Yeah. I'm almost certain. Like, obviously, I'm not 100%, but I'm almost certain that it was, as well as high caliber and rapid fire. But if anybody in the comments wants to correct me and call me a dipshit, go right ahead. But I'm pretty sure I'm right at the very least. But my point is, getting back to the whole conversation, Ban and Protect would get rid of almost all of these issues.
Ban and Protect was a really cool thing. I liked that.
Yeah, that's
that
something
cool.
that should. Imagine banning the MP5. Like, what would that?
That's like
do
banning the
to a team
VMP.
like
Do you remember that?
Yeah. What would that do if your LA Gorillas going up in group play round 1 against Atlanta? Ban the MP5.
Yeah,
Try something different.
Everybody's gonna run an MP7 though and still beam for the most part.
That's what teams did back in the day, though.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Yeah,
I just want to add to your point about the ban and protect phase. So, they do that in another game, and you guys probably know Rainbow Six Siege. They do the ban and protect phase of things, and the reason I think it's a great idea, it's because, for example, in Siege you ban and protect operators. So it's like players if someone uses an operator that they're used to, and that's the only one they use, and that operator gets banned, they're forced to use someone else and get used to it. I think that'd be perfect for the CDL in the sense of, like you said, banning guns or banning certain attachments, banning certain perks. I think that would give it the little shake-up that people want to see, in a sense.
Like there was teams that would ban dead silence in Black Ops 3.
So here,
and that fucked everything up.
So this is what I'm going to say, but I don't think that it would work as well in this game as it did in Black Ops 3. Mainly because of everybody would ban that Merc foregrip probably, unless your team liked using it, right? But like, I think that the thing that would hurt it is like a lot of times specialists and shit would be banned, and so like that's where it's going to come in and hurt, because like there's no specialists in this game, so it makes it kind of hard to have a ban and protect like that. Because like honestly, like I've been going back, like I said, I've been going back and watching old tournaments, and like that's why I think that you're wrong about the GA list, but. Also teams also weren't following the GA list either at the end of the year, so like maybe that's why I could be wrong too, because like the teams, yeah, it can be there, but like they don't have to follow it, right?
Yeah, a lot, yeah, exactly. And you know what, who like fucking make some enemies.
I think Dallas said they're not following this GA list, they're running Merc foregrip. I think
they should. It's about fucking time that someone steps up and
that's Crimsix though. Crimsix is like that though, right? He's always been like that. Basically the penalty for doing it is they get blacklisted, right, from scrims. But it's like,
who the fuck cares?
Those scrim AM teams and shit.
Those scrim AM teams. AM teams will jump at the opportunity to scrim Dallas. Like, are you serious?
Yeah. So
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't. Yeah. So.
Last thing on that list is auto tax sprint. I think we can all agree that it's. Bless you.
Sorry. Sorry about that.
I think everybody can agree that it needs to be out of the game, or at least IW needs to patch it. We saw the
just make it so you can't use it in competitive.
Yeah, we saw the G slide in Black Ops 3. It got patched. It got taken out. No problem.
It's not even the tax sprint in itself, because like I like it because it's not gonna fucking ruin your controller.
Yeah.
But like, it's ridiculous with the tap canceling or the slide canceling and shit. It's like the movement speed that you can get. Like if you guys haven't seen, go watch Apathy's video on it. I'll shout him out. He made a disgusting video on just using that movement. It's actually ridiculous. So kind of just moving on now. We got our power rankings. Everybody's favorite time. Now
we love it. We love it.
As per usual, we're going to be using Dexerto's power rankings because they always got them up, and it's what we've been using all year. So might as well not change it now. So sitting in 12th place, we still have the LA Gorillas. I still got them in 12th place. I won't. I'm not even going to wait to hear what you guys got to say. I still got them in 12th place too.
Yeah. You can go. Sorry. Go ahead, Zarin. Go ahead.
Sorry, I feel like I keep cutting everybody off. I just got a fucking vendetta this podcast. I don't know why, but LA Gorillas, terrible all year. Saints coming in for Spart. Yeah, they may win a map. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Next.
Yeah, I just honestly, the only reason I threw the Gorillas aren't in last for me is because they just beat Seattle. That's kind of the only reason.
Yeah, but Seattle's
just-
beat them
just
like
because-
4 times though,
just
so it's
only,
like.
and again, just because I just see the way that Seattle's trending. That's kind of the only reason.
I think Seattle. I think
Ah,
I think 9 out of 10 matches Seattle's gonna beat.
Yeah, I think.
No,
yeah,
just
yeah.
the way that they were trending last week, like over the tournament, and just how it's like the chaos it's going through, like the players going on Twitter and all that, just complaining about it, saying something like they need to fix something. It's
Yeah, but it's still
Just
like
as
a
an
pro
organization,
team
that's
facing
fine.
an AM team though. I think 9 out of 10 matches Seattle's gonna beat LA.
I think the Gorillas are worse than the 100 Thieves team in Black Ops 3 in the Pro League. If you guys remember how bad they were,
King Poppy.
I think the Gorillas are that bad.
You remember the team named King Poppy?
Oh
That's
my-
who they
oh,
were,
yeah.
but yeah, that's who they were before. Yeah,
Oh, no.
I still can't believe Nate Shaw picked that team up. Moving into 11th is the Seattle Surge. They have them staying in the same spot at 11th. I actually have Seattle moving down a spot into 11th. That's where I also have them. I could not agree more. I think they are a terrible team right now. I think they're going to hopefully get better at some point. But, I mean, we've been saying that all year, and they are still just absolutely terrible. Aaron,
Yeah.
this was like one of your favorite teams earlier in the year.
Yeah. They are in 10th, not moving a spot from last week. I still think Paris is worse. Seattle, not good though. Very, very bad.
I honestly think like those bottom 3 teams are all terrible. I mean, like, I don't even know why I moved Paris above Seattle, but I think I moved them above because Seattle lost to LA.
Yeah,
but
I mean, if you can flip flop between those two teams, not much.
I'm assuming you have them in 12. Oh yeah, you said 12 already, right, Zach?
Yeah, I put Seattle in 12th.
So 10th, staying in the same spot as well. Paris Legion again, not much to really talk about
Yeah,
there.
Paris
I got them in
Legion.
10th as well. I think everybody has these 3 teams with their bottom 3 right now.
Yeah, I got them 11. I mean, again, flip flop them.
I think you can move any of those teams in any spot except for the Gorillas out of last, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah. If you have them at 11, then you're probably stupid. But yeah,
That's not a shot. That's a cheap shot. But moving down a spot, they have the Toronto Ultra. Now, I also got Toronto moving down a spot to number 9. I hate that I have to move them down, but unfortunately, London got better this weekend. So I had London below them before. And so because London got better, I have to move Toronto down, unfortunately. I think they're on the uprising, though, so hopefully they continue to get better.
Zach.
I actually, so we're looking at number 9, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I actually had my number 9 spot.
No, where's
where's
Toronto?
Toronto.
Yeah.
Oh, I have Toronto placed just one up at 8th. They stayed there for me. They didn't really move, and I didn't move them just in the sense of they didn't play, so we didn't see anything for them. So they're kind of still riding that high from the semifinals they hit. So
Yeah, I agree
my
with you.
thing
It's hard
about
to move them down when they haven't played, and they
Yeah.
looked good.
I moved them down to 9 as well, Jesse. Just because I had Optic moving up 2. Optic was decent again. Toronto didn't play, so it's hard to judge. I did have Toronto ahead of Optic last week because I thought they were a little bit more impressive.
But Optic
yeah.
have kind of showed consistency now, so I kind of agree.
Yeah,
with you
yeah.
as well.
So I dropped Toronto purely based on Optic's performance. That's all.
Coming in at number 8, I know Zach's going to have these guys in a different spot. Coming in at number 8 on Dexerto's power rankings. Moving up 1 spot is the Los Angeles Optic Gaming. I also have them up from 8th as well. I mean, I got them up at number 5. They actually moved up a spot from number 6 last
that's
weekend.
exactly where I have mine at number 5.
Especially if Gunless comes in, I think they're just going to continue to get better as well. So, Zare, where you got them at?
Optic, I moved them up 2 spots to number 7, and I dropped Florida 2 more spots because everybody knows how I feel about Florida.
We'll get to Florida.
Yeah, but Optic again, impressive weekend, not blow me away kind of weekend. So I'm not sold on them quite yet on being a top 5 team, but definitely showing signs of improvement. And like Jesse said, they add Gunless, they definitely have the potential to be a top 5, even top 4 team. So.
Moving on from Optic down to number 7. Wow, actually, I'm surprised Dexerto put them this low. Dexerto moves Minnesota down 2 spots to number 7. I also have Minnesota at number 7.
I have Minnesota at 7 as well.
So I'm not shocked that they're at number 7, but I'm shocked that Dexerto put them at number 7. Zarin, where do you got Minnesota at? I'm sure you have them in like 5th or 6th still.
I have them at 5, dropping from 4.
So-
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's hard for me to put them there when they've had 2 groups that they should have made it out of and they haven't. It's just hard to keep putting them up. They're in a slump, which is why they're moving down to my power rankings.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not gonna disagree with you guys for putting them at 7. I don't think they should be that low. However, Minnesota, I've had them at 4 since the second event. So
Yeah, I also
them
have them at 4
dropping
for a
down
while.
is kind of for them dropping down, it's kind of a big deal for me. Super high on them still. I think it's a good team in a slump. They're not worse than London or Optic yet, but they continue this trend. They absolutely can be. So they stay in 5th, or sorry, they dropped to 5th for me.
Yeah, no, they
I mean, Optics made it out of groups twice that they haven't made it out of. That's another thing too. That's why I'm putting Optic above them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I'm not gonna disagree with that. Yeah, no. Last week I would absolutely disagree. I mean,
you did disagree with us
You
last week.
disagreed with me last week.
I went off on Zach because of it, but
Actually, I had Optic. I did have Optic lower than Minnesota last week. Actually,
yeah. This week I don't disagree at all.
And Zach, you said you have them at number 7 as well, right?
Yeah, I put Minnesota number 7, and just for the sole purpose that like they're in a slump, and once I see that kind of the tide shift their way, they'll most likely be going back up in my power rankings. But as of right now, I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see them like the state that they're playing right now. I don't see them as like a top 5 team. That's just my opinion.
Well, okay.
The state that they're playing in right now.
Before we really continue on because we're going into the top 6 now, right? So before we go into the top 6, this is what I want to say. This is how I feel. I'm pretty sure Zarin feels the same way about this. I feel like you got your 1, 2, and 3 teams, and I feel like everybody after that, like between 4 to 9 even probably, are very up and down. Like they're going to move a lot over these next couple weeks because all these teams could beat any of these teams on any given day. I'd even say Florida still could beat some of these teams on days. Like it depends on the day, and any of these teams can beat anybody, and that's why these power rankings are so up and down. Now I saw where Dexerto has Florida on their power rankings, and that's going to be another topic when we get there. But that's how I feel. I feel like 3 through 9 are just or 4 through 9 are just very up and down right now. It's going to be hard to move them around. So moving into number 6 is the London Royal Ravens. Now, they moved up a spot for them, only 1 spot from last weekend. I moved London up 4 spots from last weekend. I had them at 10th last weekend, which I mean, I feel like they just looked terrible like before Zero got out. I felt like they looked terrible, so that's why they finally moved up for me. And it's not hard to move up 4 spots in this league when you make a final. So. Especially the way that they did. They came out top in their group. Sorry, I don't mean to keep cutting you off.
No worries. Yeah, no, I was just going to say I agree with you. I have them at number 6 as well, just for the sole purpose of they came out and showed that when they're playing at the caliber that they should be playing, they're a competitive team. And Zarin, I was just like you. I wouldn't say I had like high hopes for this team, but I really, for some reason, I like them. I like this team a lot.
I think anybody that didn't have high hopes for this team would be wrong.
Yeah. I really like this team, but it's just like for some reason nothing was clicking. I think now with Zero in, they've kind of proven that they can hang with the big dogs.
I agree. I bumped London up 1 spot from 7 to 6.
Oh, you're also in 6.
Yeah,
we're all the same. Yay!
The event before.
I think this is the closest all our power rankings have been. Honestly, this is actually hilarious.
Wait till we get to 4, 4 and 5.
I don't like where that's going, but anyway, London was impressive. Zero coming in, they looked like the London that they should have been the entire year. Again, I've been preaching this all year long. One event is not going to convince me.
Which is why I only moved them up to 6th.
Exactly, and I moved them up only to 6 as well because I still don't think that they're better than Minnesota. Or even New York at this point.
I think. Well, with me, I think it's fair to move them up 4 spots from 10th to 6th, though. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I understand with those teams there, but I only had London at 7, so I
mean, I think 4 spots is a drastic change, yes, but like also, I think like they proved this weekend that they can compete, sort of. So it's like.
So I'm gonna give them another event to really show me what they got.
I agree with
If
that.
they make another finals, or even win it, then I'll move them up again. But right now, I'm not going to get too high on them. But they definitely impressed, and so they're number 6 for me.
All right, number 5, the moving up one spot for Dexerto is the New York Subliners. Now, I got Subliners in 4th because I have Optic at 5. I think Subliners, I don't think they're a top 4 team necessarily, but I think they're the best of 4th through 9th. So that's why I got them at 4th right now.
I have the exact same thing as you. I have, like you said, you have Optic at 5th, and then have the Subliners 4th. I have the same thing. Now, my reasoning is just because of the impact that Mac had when he came in. It's been three weeks now, or just the 2? Like the 3 tournaments, or just 2?
I think it's 3 tournaments now.
Yeah, it's been 3
event.
tournaments since Max come in, and I think they've made semis.
They've made semis each time, I think, haven't they?
Yeah, I can't remember if they made the final or not.
No, they haven't made a final yet, but they've made semis each time, which is still They're basically to the level of where Optic has, or not Optic, where Huntsmen was, where they were just hitting semis every time. So it's like they've hit that level. Now they just need to get to that next level.
And for the past tournament, me and you were talking about this, Jesse. They weren't playing as well as they have in the past, like in the past 2 tournaments, but they still made the semis. And I think the kind of a downfall what happened in the semis was they ran into a hot Huntsman team, who have all the slaying power and also have the addition of Pristini.
I think if Subliners came out top of their group, they would have made the finals this weekend. So the fact that them losing to London is what hurt their weekend.
I'm still super high on this team. I still think, obviously, because I have them top 4. I think they're a top 4 team. Out of the 4 to 9, they are 100% the top team out of that.
I think Jesse put it absolutely perfectly. All I'm gonna say is that New York is number 4 for me as well, moving up a spot with Minnesota dropping back because they're better than Minnesota right now. But as they sit at number 4, they're not a top 4 team. If that makes any sense,
that's what I said. Yeah.
Similar to Jesse's point, it's 1, 2, 3, then it's 4 through 9.
Yeah, and they're the best of 4 through 9.
Yeah, and what Zach said, they're the best out of that group right now. But anybody could be number 4. I still believe Minnesota has the potential and has shown that they have the potential to be an actual legitimate 4th seeded team because they've beaten Chicago, they've beaten Atlanta, they got close to beating Dallas. I'm not sure if they even
Toronto comes out and makes a final next week, and they're going to be moving up too.
This could change bi-weekly. That's the great thing about this 4 through 9 is any team can honestly spark up and jump.
Yeah, I don't think New York is a top 4 team, but I have them sitting at number 4.
They're definitely the top of those teams that can definitely contest to win a championship. It's just
as of right now,
we just don't have them. Yeah, we just don't have them at the level of they're a favorite to win a championship, which is what I think your 1, 2, and 3 would be.
Yeah.
Number 4, and I 100% disagree with this, is the Florida Mutineers. I don't know how the fuck Dexerto. I understand they've won a championship. They won a championship 3 events ago. You guys are fucking idiots. They're my number 8 team. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. That's so stupid. They are such a bad team right now, and I don't see them just go ahead. I'm gonna walk away.
Yeah.
Darren, you hold this one. Start this one off.
I am absolutely 100% for the first time in my fucking life agreeing with Jesse. Because Florida is probably
write it down. What's the date?
They're probably even worse than Toronto right now. To be honest, if I have Florida and Toronto going up against each other in a series, I'm gonna take Toronto.
I'm taking Toronto as
right now, and I'm not even gonna We talked about it last event where they traded Pristini and picked up the Awakening, and they traded Pristini. Took out Mox out of the lineup, and they didn't have a 5th. They didn't have a substitute to put him in, so they had to go and sign 2 fucking players or try out 2 players to come in for the 5th spot. Some stupid ass last minute bullshit planning, and not only that, but they're also shit. And Awakening is not going to make them any better. And they do not deserve to be a 4 seed just because they have that one event win. They have proven that was a fluke, and they will continue to suck.
I'm so happy that you agree with me. because I had them at like a number 7 seed, I think, before they won their event, and then they won their event, and so then they moved up, and like it was hard not to move them up after winning an event, right? But it's like that time has passed. It's been 3 events since they've won an event, and they haven't gotten any better. And like, didn't they get double bopped out of groups without winning a map though?
Yeah.
The last time, so the last time they played,
one was wasn't one of them by by Ultra?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I have Florida sitting at number 9, and I have Toronto above them.
Oh, I didn't even say where I have Florida. I have Florida at number 8.
Yeah, I have Florida at 9, and both of your points, 100% agree. This is a slower dumpster fire than Seattle is, in my opinion.
It's getting there.
I think Seattle could compete with Florida, to be honest.
Absolutely.
100%. I think it's the way this team is trending. It's right now. It's at like a small bonfire. It's going to turn into a dumpster fire in about 2 weeks.
They got a lucky win, and I think that's the best way to put it. Is they had a good Sunday, and I think I said that when they won their event too. Did I not, Zarin? I think I said they had a good Sunday, and that's why they won the event.
Yeah.
Moving into number 3, I don't think that there's any disagreement here with you, Dexter. So great job on this one, guys. Number 3, the Chicago Huntsmen. That's where I have them as well. I think, yes, they won an event. Yes, they now are number 1 in CDL points. They also have an event more played than the other top 2 teams. I think if they play against Atlanta and Dallas, they play them tough. I don't know if they beat them yet. That's why they're at number 3.
Yep, 100% agree.
Don't got much to say. You put it.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep talking about these. Sorry.
You worded it pretty good. I don't know what to say.
Can't even follow up. I totally agree.
All right.
Yeah.
Number 2, Atlanta FaZe. Any disagreements there? Or are you guys both at number 2 as well?
I still have my top 3 haven't changed. I still have FaZe.
Okay,
I still have Atlanta.
These 3 teams haven't moved out of my top 3 this entire year.
Not once. I did say last podcast that if Chicago didn't win or even make finals, they would finally drop out of top 4.
Which would have been the same for me.
Assuming Minnesota, well, like I think it was based on my bracket actually, because
you thought Minnesota win.
beating Chicago and then Minnesota winning the event. If that happened, Chicago would have finally dropped out of my top 3, but didn't happen. Good on Chicago.
Yeah, this event literally proved that Chicago was still a top 3 team, and I think that's what it was.
Oh yeah, and
because of the teams that were there
too.
Yeah, and Atlanta, I think that everybody in the world has Dallas at number 1 right now. I think it's hard to argue Dallas at number 1. Maven was trying to make a point the other day, and he kind of got talked out of it on their podcast because he was saying that he thought Atlanta was number 1 because they had the most CDL points. I just don't think that really matters in terms of power rankings on where teams are playing. I think that Dallas is a better. I don't think they're even a better team, honestly. I think Dallas and Atlanta are probably the 2 best teams in the game right now, and they're very, very even teams. So I'm very excited to see them play because I think that they are in the same bracket. They're in the same group, so they could play in bracket play this weekend or next weekend in round 2. So I'm very excited to see that. You guys have any final thoughts on your power rankings or anything like that for this week?
I mean, the only reason that I put FaZe above Empire, again, is because I personally, like, it's just kind of more personal thing, just because I like FaZe more as a team. Not saying that they're like light years beyond better than Empire. I'm pretty positive that if they were to go into like series and play each other nonstop, that it would maps would almost be deadlocked. Like it would always come down to a game 5 between those 2 teams. And I think it just who just performs better in that game 5.
Right.
Between Empire and FaZe, and that's kind of my reasoning. But like again, the only reason I have them at number 1 and Dallas and 2 is just because, again, I'm like a small fanboy for Simp.
You're a simp for Simp.
I'm a simp for Simp.
Honestly, power rankings didn't change a whole lot. What I'm looking forward to is actually watching Toronto, see what they can do. They got the Gorillas as their first matchup, definitely winnable. I mean, very winnable.
Imagine they lose it. Oh my god, the amount of salt that's going to be coming out of us for the next podcast.
Oh man, I would be pissed if Toronto.
We should call
losing.
out Johnny Zins.
I could see Toronto making it out of the group. They have a shot, and they're probably going to play Florida. So
we'll obviously have that to talk about on the next podcast.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm just saying. Power rankings pretty much the same. It's proving grounds for Minnesota and Toronto next week, I think. So we'll see what they got.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good spot to put it. I just want to thank everybody. If you guys got this far through the video, you guys are real ones. If you guys don't know, me and Zarin are doing casting now for for the BGL League. So if you guys want to go check that out, you guys can always check that out on my Twitch. We might be live on Zaren's Twitch. Follow all our Twitches. That'll be in the description below. Follow our Twitters. It's probably the best place to know when we're going to be live, when we're going to be tweeting, or like when we're going to be making our next podcast and putting it up. Again, appreciate everybody for being here, and I hope everybody has a great day.